Okay, and then this is one of my favorite segments of all time that Robert created on the last show. This is King on Screen with over 100 adaptations. We're kind of doing a little chronological assessment of King's work on the screen, and this week it is the 1979 miniseries, Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot. Yes. So you, I was 9 so I did not see this live. I don't think, or if I don't think I saw it live, but I think it was definitely one of those next day in school. Kids were talking about it,
Oh yeah, that's
and
exciting.
yeah, and so and that's where it's like sometimes you have these weird memories. I'm like, I don't know if I saw it, but I do remember hearing. Obviously, the freakiest scene that everybody still talks about is the little boy outside the window, kind of tapping and scraping on the window that's kind of floating and
Still
stuff
gives me
like that.
chills.
Yeah. Um, so I remember hearing about that at the very least, but I don't think I watched it until a couple years later. So
Till you were of age.
till I was of age to watch that type of thing. Yeah, because
It's
as you know, I was a super scaredy cat kid. So
Yeah, no, that movie will do it. That
yeah.
series will do it. I saw it as a teenager, young teenager, when I discovered Stephen King movies and books. I just immersed myself in everything, and I rented from Blockbuster the VHS Salem's Lot, and the vampire kid at the window is still very, very scary to me this day. They did a really good job with this. I love David Soul in the series. If you haven't, just a quick background. It came out in '79. It has 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. It stars David Soul, who's great, James Mason, who's great. Bonnie Padilla is
I
adorable in
love
this.
Bonnie Bedelia.
Oh, she's just so great. Um, I don't know. I recently watched it last year, maybe earlier this year. I don't remember, but I really enjoyed it. It's the right amount of it's faithful to the book, and it's great King on screen.
Yeah, I think it got the Stephen King flavor right. Um,
Good call.
and it was also and book this was his second book, so it's interesting that for now things are kind of happening in order. Carrie was adapted, and that was his first book. Second book was the next one to be adapted. And I remember if you look at the time, it's like just author of Carrie, like they had to explain who Stephen King was still. Because he was, you know what I
I
mean? Like he
saw
was like,
that.
yeah, which is like, who's this Stephen King? No,
Who is
um,
this King
who
guy?
is this? Yeah, what's ever? I don't. He won't amount to much, but
He's a
uh,
deadbeat.
um,
It's
but
trash.
but it's also I felt like Sam's really became the template for a lot of his other books, like Needful Things and kind of the whole castle. Where it was
Oh yeah.
this town became a character, and the townspeople and kind of how they are. So he kind of replicated that
Yes.
but like multiple times and
Maine is
it
always the biggest character in his books.
yeah and Needful Thing like I think about Needful Things feels just like a either a spiritual sequel or something because they
Oh
kind of
yeah.
follow the same a little some of the same beats the kind of same types of counties that are in there but yeah
Right.
it worked and I've never gone up to was it Fernwood, is that where they shot this?
The
um
Marsden House. Oh,
yeah.
Fernwood, California. Yeah.
Yes. So, which you may know better for its appearance in
Village of the Damned.
Outbreak.
Oh, is that where it was?
Yes. So,
Oh, I love it.
I think be very excited for that.
Oh, very excited. I've seen Outbreak about 50 times.
So that's where Dustin Hoffman's running around. I think the final remember the town they kind of corner. I think that's the same town. So
Yeah, Cedar Creek.
yeah. But oh, you know it.
Yeah, Cedar Creek, California.
It's
We're
also
not moving. What
it's
you're about to
also
do in the next 30 seconds is your testimony to life, guys. You ready? What's his name? Mrs. McTiernan. It's so bad. It's so great. But real quick, the it is a spiritual sequel, and I rewatched the remake last night, but in
Mhm.
terms of the town, like the Barlow and Straker shop, it does have some of the same beats as Needful Things. When you talk
Yeah,
about
maybe that's what I think.
the outsider coming in, it's very it sets the pace a lot like Needful Things, very much so,
Yeah.
which is great. Is great. And Tobe Hooper directed this. If at the time was established for best known from Texas Chainsaw Massacre at this time,
Yes. He
and
had done one other, and did I say Fernwood? I think it's Ferndale. I don't know.
I don't
It's Fern.
remember.
Okay, it's Ferndale, California. If anybody's
Ferndale.
gonna be correcting me. Yeah. So I know Hooper. He had done Texas Chainsaw, and he had done one other kind of not good horror film in between. So he was still. It was interesting because he was still known mostly for Texas Chainsaw, and so I imagine it was kind of a big deal at the time to. Well, maybe not because
He
now
did
if you
Eaten Alive
okay, that was the
before
one. Yeah. So
with the gator.
yeah. So nowadays, if you say Tobe Hooper and Stephen King, you're like, wow. I think back then they were still both so new, it was not quite as
Yeah, you're right.
substantial as it would be now to saying that these two kind of got together. But
Right.
George Romero was attached to it, I remember at one point as well. But he was attached to it when it was a movie, and then when it became a TV
Oh.
series, he didn't want to compromise his gore or violence, I don't think. So I think that's why he bowed out. So
Oh, is that what it was?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Now the Marsden house in there, which is featured in multiple King works, the original story of that. So if you're not familiar, I know Robert you are, but just for the listeners and viewers, Salem's Lot has three main works on Stephen King's fiction. There's Jerusalem's Lot, the short story, which is
Mm,
based on, the chapel wait in the house and the, Puritan. And then there's Salem's Lot, his second novel, which this is based off. And then there's another one called, it's driving me crazy. I can't remember the name, but it's a short story in one of his books about a visitor getting stuck on his way to Jerusalem's Lot, and they go out in the snow, and there's a vampire. But it's alluded to in multiple stories. So with this one, I think the history of the Marsden house, it runs kind of parallel with Chapelwaite, but it's completely different. There's a lot of roots in these stories that go back to, you know, 18th century lore.
yes. And Father Callahan shows up later too. I think in the Dark Tower series, which I didn't
Oh,
really kind of get
really?
into, but yeah, so
No,
I
I
know
didn't
that
either.
that character does. And I think we were almost going to get it if Castle Rock had another season because I think they drive by a sign, if I remember, for Jerusalem's Salem's Lot.
They do, and
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
So I figured I'd be like, oh, maybe that would
Yeah,
have been the teaser for the kind of third season, which we did not get, but
right, right. It's
maybe somebody will pick it up. I don't know.
maybe they will. Maybe they will.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to think of the that.
The other story.
Yeah, I'm not going to waste the listeners' time.
We
Um,
will all sit silently as you think about what other stories
oh, it's all
take
it's all
place
one
in
for the road. One for the road.
one for the. Oh, that does
Yeah,
sound familiar. So,
yeah. Which should, I mean, they're mining Stephen King's work. They will be for the next 100 years. So
yes,
we're going to see more Salem's Lot stuff. Um, but this
but
one,
not nothing better than the first so
no,
far.
no, absolutely not. But this King on Screen, it's funny because you're right. They're doing the chronological right now, and The Shining, I still think they were doing director of or from the author of Carrie or something, right? Weren't
Yeah,
they still?
because The Shining. Well, we'll talk. That'll be our next
We'll
King
do
on
that.
Screen
That'll be the
because
next
yeah,
one. Yeah.
because that's still actually coming in chronological order. So. And then
Yeah.
soon after we will split off and be
Ew.
zapping around a little bit. But yeah, so 70, yeah, it's weird because yeah, this is still the 70s.
It was the 70s.
Hmm.
People got high in the hospital. Halloween too.
It
This
just happened.
it was nominated for three Emmy Awards. Salem's Lot 1979, and the reception, like I said, is very good. And I feel like the casting was very good in the miniseries. Like David Soul,
Mhm.
rustic, and you know, good
Hutch,
heart. It was good. Hutch,
Hutch
yeah,
of Starsky and Hutch.
yes, the great David Soul, who I believe he's no longer with us.
I don't know.
He's listening, and we're just
Is he
been handed
listening?
papers
I
for a
know. So
lawsuit.
Lance Kerwin is no longer with us. He played the
He passed.
teenager. Yeah, he passed a couple years ago. I did meet him. I think I met him that year at the Hollywood show.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
by chance. So that's the only bad thing about Hollywood show is that somebody has to go
Yeah, it's
after every show.
it's
You
like
don't
the
know who
Hunger
it's gonna
Games.
be. Yes. So,
Yeah, Squid Game.
but yeah.
No,
So,
David Soul did pass,
oh, did he? Okay.
unfortunately, in January of 2024.
Okay.
So,
And Lance Kerwin died in January of 2023.
oh wow,
Coincidence? Yes.
Coincidence? I don't know.
I don't know. I just came back from Final Destination, so
Lance Kerwin's great in that.
nothing's a coincidence.
Nothing's a coincidence. Right? What's the tagline for Bloodlines? It's like
Oh, I don't know.
some, but yeah, check out Salem's Lot 79, kiddos, if you haven't seen it. Do you revisit this a lot, Robert? Or
I only revisit because I when I got the Blu-ray less than a year ago, because when they kind of did an upgrade, I kind of bought that, and so I watched it then. It was better than I remember. I remember as a kid, it wasn't quite as good as other Stephen King. You know what I mean? Like did kind of feel too long, and I was just like
yeah,
too adultish. It
right.
wasn't like his other thing. It's not
No,
like Cujo or Children of the
yeah.
Corn. So it kind of felt too adultish for me. But
The fact that it
uh,
was a mini series was different for the time and
yeah.
its legacy. But I do own, unfortunately,
Ooh.
Return to Salem's
Oh.
Lot.
That's in the derivative column, I think where
Ooh.
it's like we may mention those Stephen King works that are somehow related but not based on, but that's a
You know,
whole
I,
different list.
I will not even get into it.
Yeah.
But
And it's bare it's
I do
it's
have it on
barely
VHS, and we
okay.
watched it as kids at slumber parties a lot. Like we thought that was the
Really?
scariest things.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah, I obtained a copy, and it was like we're watching Return to Salem's Lot at Clark's house. There's vampires that melt, and it was like, whoa! It was bad. It's bad. Stick
It
to the miniseries, folks.
well it's and now that you're talking about it, because it reminded me that it was one big change from the book was they kind of did for more of a Nosferatu vampire. Uh but that
Oh
was not
yeah.
what in the book it was more like a distinguished gentleman, if I remember right. It was they were
Yes.
trying to kind of or Tobe Hooper wanted to get away from that. So and
Right.
the thing it kind of works because even though it is not to say outlandish, but he's barely on screen anyway. So when he does pop up and he literally does pop up, then it is kind of always kind of jarring.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it is. And you respect it more. And it works. It works very well. I feel like the last thing I'll say about Salem's Lot is they did a great job with the basement of in the 79 of making it look pretty much the whole house in general of decrepit and not movie decrepit, but actually like, oh, this place has not been lived in years. And it had the right authenticity of a Victorian house. Like it just made everything creepier to me. Or some
yes.
movies they don't. You're like, okay, it's a set. But that one, they did a good job.
Oh,
Um,
I think we know what movies you're talking about.
yes. Oh, you do.